Welcome back to the show, or whatever you want to call this. And this is going to be part 3 of What If Deku Was a Werewolf. I might just change the name to What If Deku was a leader of a wolf pack or something, whatever. But who cares? So yeah, let's begin. And so we left off is where they were watching a movie. So let's say it's been a week since then. Mirko and Toga and Midnight have enjoyed Izuku very much, and pretty much Izawa said something about the sports festival that they're having it soon, and some people got scared because of Izuku. And then Ida said, "Wait, what about the whatever it's called? What about the villains, right?" And he really... Okay, hold on. Izuku said, well, if they attack, we'll probably be able to beat them. And Ida doesn't really like Izuku that much, right? I want to go back to the wolf. Where's my wolf? No, not you. There it is. Anyways, and Deku was pretty much in his wolf form, and Toga and Mirko were just sitting next to him, petting his ears and everything. And he said we would have more people to fight that time instead of how we had it last time. And then he said, so how's your scars and everything? But before he said that out, Izawa said we had a new student. And everyone didn't know who it was. And when this girl came in, Izuku was smiling and then went to a frown, because he knows who this just came in. This girl was named Yui, and she was Deku's first girlfriend, but then cheated on him. So, yeah. And Mirko and Toga and Midnight noticed that Izuku's impressions just changed real quick, right? And instantly they just didn't care. Izuku didn't really care about that. When she came in, she noticed Izuku but didn't say anything, right? And she explained what her name was. She said, "My name is Yui, last name," right? And then, where was I? And she said, my quirk is, let's say it's dark control, right? She could control shadows. And when she met Izuku, he was quirkless, right? So yeah. And hold on, give me a sec. I gotta check something out in a second, but yeah. But yeah, I'm checking something, give me a sec. And yeah, okay, I checked on that thing. And then she noticed that Izuku had a wolf ear and tail. So she thought, oh, he got his quirk, right? Because she dated him he always had his quirk, but when he was dating her, he never really used it around here. So she always thought that he was quirkless, and so did everyone else, except for... Nope, everyone just thought he was quirkless. So yeah. And give me a sec, I'm trying to remember something. And pretty much when she came, when Izawa just said, "Okay, thank you for introducing yourself. Is there anything else you would like us to know?" She said, "Hi, Izuku." And Izuku just looked away. And everyone looked at Izuku in shock. But, when he didn't respond, she said, "Okay." And Izawa said, "Okay, go sit down by Hagire." Right? And she sat down and everything. And after, Izawa told them about, again, what's going to probably happen in the sports festival. So they have a month to train. So that was their pretty much homework and assignment. Right? Sorry. And Izuku went out instantly to train instantly. Right? And Izuku hold on. And Izuku was just working. And Mina came out with Kirishima, and Mirko and Togus also came. Midnight had to stay in class to do paperwork. And they were just training together. And this girl, Yui, comes out now and goes to Deku and says, "Hello, how are you?" And says, "How are you?" And Izuku just ignores her and keeps training. And Toga said, "I think you're bothering him." And Yui looked at her with a disgust face and said, "How do you know?" And Mirko also came by and said, "Please just leave us alone." Right? And she said, "I could talk to him if I want to." And then Izuku stood up, because let's say he was just sitting down to take a little quick break. He said, "Can you leave us alone? We're trying to train. You should probably be doing the same." And she said, "Okay, I guess." And she kept doing illusion. And her quirk got so strong that it pretty much evolved. Instead of illusion, whatever she wants to imagine will come. Right? And Izuku's been training and using his direwolves. And his direwolves, the direwolf population for inside of him now is increased by, so last time it was 100. Now it's 125. And Izuku's very, hold on. Give me a sec. Hold on. Sorry, I had to do something again. Okay, sorry. I had to do some stuff. Anyways, where was I? And Yui was still near them training. And Deku gave permission to Kirishima to start attacking him. And Yui didn't know that. And when Kirishima started attacking Izuku, she didn't do anything at first because she wanted to see what Izuku's quirk was. And he transformed into a werewolf type, into his just wolf form a little bit, not that much. And then he had his fire going on. Right? And his cuts are healed by now, but they still sting a little bit. And he's still fighting against Kirishima. And let's say Yui finally jumped in, right? And Zuka said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Well, he was attacking you. I didn't know if you had let him." And he says, "Well, if I didn't let him, I would have probably yelled at him." Right? And then they started having an argument, right? And Midoriya says, "God, this is how you were when I used to date you, Jesus." Right? And Mirko and Toga heard this, and Midnight just came out, so she heard this too. And all three of them say, wait, you used to date her? Right? And he says, yeah, she left me, she cheated on me. That's why I didn't care when she came in. Right? And she said, whatever. Right? And started walking off. And she passed midnight, and midnight went to go over to them, and she didn't know why, so she kept watching. And when he saw her, he said, oh, you got done with your paperwork? She said, yeah. They're exhausting. And he kisses her forehead and says, calm down. It's not that hard, right? And then Mirko and Toga say, that's not fair. And he kisses them on their head, too. And she was in shock that he was dating a teacher. And she knew the rules that it was okay, right? But they all have to be in a relationship. And I guess they were all she thought that they weren't all in a relationship, so she went to go tell Nezu. And Nezu told her that they were all in a relationship. And, yeah. Moonlight, spotlight, moonlight, moonlight. Sorry. But yeah. And they were just pretty much and Izuku kind of started messing around a little bit more. And let's say more of the classes started coming out to train, right? And they see Izuku's direwolf number is increased by 25 or so, right? Are the same. Anyways, now, and Izuku's just talking to his little friends and his girlfriends and everything, like a nice person he was. And when people tried to, when people asked if they could train, he allowed them. And then when Yui said, sure, I guess, right? And let's say the big three were out. And Mirio wanted to test himself against Class 1A and Class 1B, pretty much. And Izuku was okay with that. Pretty much everyone was. And Midnight had to supervise this, and she had to get permission real quick. And Nezu said it was okay. And they went into a training area, and Class 1A was ready to fight Mirio. And they say, wait, isn't the other two coming to help and fight? And they just said, no, they're not. And Izuku says, it's your loss then, right? And Mirio has all for one. And he says, yeah, sure, whatever. And Izuku knows that he's the top student here. And he wants to take him out for that. And Izuku is taking him serious. And everyone knows this because he instantly went to a strong form. Right? But he also, let's say that he started out with his wooden katana. And they started to battle, right? And Mirio went for Izuku. Well, Izuku darted first. And Mirio saw that in shock at how fast he was. And he didn't see Izuku for a sec, and then all of a sudden Mirio got punched in the stomach. Nejire and Taniki were shocked that Izuku got a hit real quick. And Izuku kept bursting around him, keeps hitting him side to side, keeps hitting him. And Mirio is in shock that he can't do anything yet. That he's trying to use his quirk, but it just won't activate yet because he's getting hit and he's trying to block all the hits. Excuse me. Right? And the Class 1A is still ready to fight just in case Mirio gets out. And Mirio finally got out, and Izuku noticed that his clothes are coming off. And he thought, oh no, Toga and Mirko. Right. And he said, watch out, purification, right, or whatever it's called. And everyone's like, got it. And Mirio's like, wait, how does he know? and then he thinks, oh, it must have been research or something. And let's say he went to the back where Jiro was, and Jiro saw him coming out, and Mirio was about to hit him quickly with a quick hit, right? But then Mirio Deku took the hit instead of Jiro from Mirio, and Mirio was shocked about how fast his movement was, because he went to the back of the area, and other classes are starting to watch how Mirio and Deku are taking it an all-out brawl. And when Izuku got away from Mirio for a second, he summoned all of his wolves with different properties and elements, right? And they're all going at it now. They're just trying to get through everything. Hold up, I need to go check something. Give me a second. I'll bring you guys with me. Just give me a sec. Sorry about that. Hold on, I need to grab my dog. Anyways, and they're just all out brawling. And people are in Class 1A is actually getting out of the way when they see Mirio go underground. And Mirio went instantly again for another student. And Izuku didn't see this that time. And he took out, let's say, Mineta quickly. Right? And Izuku's like, ah, damn it. He screamed that out loud quickly. And let's say Miriko's also trying to get some hits in on him. Come on. Sorry. And it's just, they're just trying to fight. And Mirio is actually having trouble with him. Right? And then out of nowhere, let's say Nejire came out and hit Deku. And Deku said, oh, I thought he could do this by himself, right? And then he focused his attention on Nejire real quick. And so did Tamaki also joined the fight against Deku. Right? And Class 1A pretty much ran off. Well, Class 1A wanted to see how actually strong he is against all big three. And also Aizawa told them to leave. So yeah, to get out of the way for Izuku. Right? And it's an all-out brawl against 1 versus 3. The top 3 students are actually having some difficulties against 1 student. And all these and let's say that Izuku, when all the direwolves were looking for Mirio, he said, focus your attention on the ones that you could see in movement. Go. I'll focus on him. Right? And Izuku got his wooden katana because he went back into his human form and started searching around for Mirio. And he said, so, you could go under things? Nice to know. And he touched the ground and different, and just the ground just started breaking. And he saw Mirio underground quickly. Right? And sorry. And Mirio was in shock that he just found him, but he was still in permeation, so he couldn't get hit. That's what he thought, at least. And let's say one of the wolf's properties was cancel nation, right? So let's say that wolf was focusing on Nejire. She started falling, and Mirio went for her, and that's when Deku got a nice blow into his stomach for him and pushed him back, and then he caught Nejire and said, do you forfeit? Right? And she said, yeah. And she walked off the fighting grounds. And Tamaki is actually having some difficult against all of the direwolves now. And Izuku said, half of you guys focus on him, half of you focus on me, focus on the other one. Right? And they're just fighting now. And let's say he put back all the direwolves again, and everyone's like, oh, what is he doing now? Right? And let's say Izuku said, I'm kind of getting tired of this. Right? And and then he remembers he's supposed to be cooking dinner right now. He's like, oh god, I'm good. Sorry. And he screamed when he got some time. When he got away from Mirio and what's Tamaki, he said, guys, dinner's gonna be late. Right? And they all say, oh, come on, Izuku. Right? And he's like, fine, I'll end this real quick. Right? And he says, black lightning. and black lightning just struck the ground. And it hit Tamaki badly. Tamaki had to get out. And Mirio barely dodged it. He's like, are you serious? God dang it. Right? He's like, gosh dang it. And he said, that's enough. And Izuku went into his real powerful form. The form that you see on screen pretty much. Right? And he starts using his fire quirk on it. And he starts using green hail. And it's just... Mirio hasn't really seen it he's heard rumors about it, but hasn't seen it. And it's just this. It's just this beautiful type of wolf with green on its mane and tail. And Mirio noticed that Izuku has music in. And he thinks that, well, he's being, well, mocked by. And Mirio is now using all for one, or one for all against Izuku. And when Izuku got hit again, he actually got flung into a wall. Because Mirio can do 50% of it. And Izuku got up, and he was really surprised. He's like, you could actually hit me, I see. And Izuku noticed that his music came out. He's like, you messed up. And he took off. He said, Mirio, or one of the girls, can you guys catch my phone real quick, right? And Mirio got it, and Toga got her his headphones. Midnight is actually very scared for Izuku because how strong Mirio is, right? And they're starting to battle and stuff. And Izuku's still at it. And it's just getting harder to keep. And Izuku notices that Mirio is faster now. And Izuku's getting hit more. And some of the classes believe in Mirio's gonna win. But then you have the girls explaining Mirio probably will lose. And Nejuri's like, what do you mean? Well, during the USJ attack, then kids started to remember. He went up against two things that were supposed to kill All Might, and he withstand it, right? And then everyone kind of faded away from Mirio and focused on Izuku. And then they noticed Izuku is only getting scratched by Mirio's punches. And let's say Mirio punched him in the face again, right? And when Mirio looked at him, Izuku was just smiling. And he said, my turn. And Izuku just punched him right in the face to the ground. And Mirio was out. And Izuku was tired. He said, okay, I'm going to make dinner and go and take a shower quickly, right? And everyone was shocked that Mirio was out. And then everyone knows what this means. Izuku's the top student. Mirio's second, Nejuri's third, and Tamaki's the fourth. Mirio got debuffed or just downgraded from what he used to be. And everyone was shocked about this. Right? God, dude, they're so annoying. Sorry. And when Izuku got done, he's like, I'm gonna take a shower. And Mirko and Toga and Midnight started following him. And he said, yeah, what's up? And they say in a worried voice, can we join you? He says, sure. I'll be in the shower waiting. Right? And they were shocked and people heard this, and they were just shocked that Izuku just allowed that, pretty much. Right? And, well, they took a shower together. So pretty much they've seen each other now. So yeah. And Izuku was pretty much enjoyed the shower, and he said, well, I'm gonna go eat now. You girls coming? And they say, yeah, we'll come. And they joined him. They joined him to eat, and everyone was just happy. Right? And let's say when he was eating, Muriel came in. And Muriel looked pretty pissed off. And he said, hey, that was a nice fight, Muriel. Right? Laughing about it. And Muriel ignored him. And people were confused why Muriel ignored him, really. And he said, okay, nice to know. Right? And Midoriya got done, and he's like, that was fun. I should do that more often with more people. Probably against all of you guys. Right, smirks about it. And he's like, maybe I should go against all three again, just without using the wolves. Right? And Mirio said, here, you want to have a rematch tomorrow then? And he says, yeah. Right? And people were like, oh no, he's going to get stronger against these guys. Right? And then the next day, Zawa told them, well, you know what to do, work on your stuff for, yeah. And Izuku is thinking of tactics against the big three. Right. Because the big three know if they beat him, he goes back down. Right. And let's say that Izuku wanted to train some of the other kids. Right. And the first kid he wanted to train mostly was Shinso. Right? And Shinso was confused. Why me? Do you want to train me? He says, well, if you look at yourself, right? If you look at yourself, you see that you don't have that much of muscles or strength on wise, right? And he's like, yeah, I guess, but he's like, but no buts. And they're like, oh, that's fine. He's like, fine, whatever. And hold up, I need to do something. Okay, sorry, I had to get my laundry. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, and Izuku pretty much thought of a strategy that might work. And when pretty much Zawa dismissed them, everyone got ready to watch the fight between Mirio and, well, Mirio, the big three against Izuku. And they noticed that Izuku is acting kind of different. And they noticed that Yui's smirking about something. They don't know what it is, really. Right? And Deku kind of looks a little plain for some reason. Right? And no one really knows why he's kind of acting like this. It's because some people think he's acting weird for no reason now. And Mirio said, are you ready? And Deku's like, huh? Oh, yeah, let's go. Right? And Mirio also catch something is off. He said, hey, are you okay? And he said, yeah, just thinking something. Right? And the girls are confused what's going on. Right? And they start fighting. Deku tries to do the exact same move in the beginning, like yesterday. But Mirio was ready for that. And instead of Mirio getting hit, Deku got hit instead. Right? And Mirio kids were shocked that kids knew that Deku, something was up with him. Mirio was one of those. He said, Izuku, what's wrong? Right? And he said, nothing, just keep going. Right, and they noticed that Yui's still smirking about something. So let's say everyone pretty much asks what's wrong with him, right? And they're demanding to know. And she said, "Oh, I just told him something," right? And they said, "What did you say to Izuku?" And she said, "Well, if you want to know, I told him that if he loses, he will just be known as the exact same loser that he was in high school." And I think that might have brought back some memories. And Bakugo knows that he's a jerk to Izuku time to time, but he knows that's way too far to go. Right. And he said, "Okay, we should probably call it off then." And then they see Izuku's aura, and then Midnight felt it again. The aura that she doesn't want to feel ever. Izuku's red aura of anger. And Mirio doesn't know what that is yet, so he's still fighting. And let's say the other two of the big three finally got there, and they ran into the battle. But when they got onto the field, they got thrown back. Everyone felt a gush of wind, and Mirio didn't know what it was. And then when he saw Izuku was in a mode that he hates the most, and he called this mode terror mode, right? And Izuku's just steaming. You see him steaming, and he's not in a wolf form. He's just in his human form, steaming. And when Mirio tried to say, "Hey, you okay?" You don't get anything from him. You just get growls. And all of a sudden, you see him for 1 second, and it's a blur again. It looks like he's just standing there, but instead of him standing, he's right behind Mirio, hitting him over and over. And Mirio didn't even see this coming. Hold on. God. He didn't even see this coming, and yeah. And everyone is trying to get in there now. And Midnight used her cast, and it knocked out Izuku. Right? And Yui said, "Oh, I guess he loses." He used the exact same, and Toga Toga and Mirko's both slapped Yui, and everyone was shocked. Midnight knew that she couldn't, but she wished that she could have, right? And then they went to go get Izuku, and when they tried to touch him, he was steaming, right? And they just carefully picked him up, and they noticed that, well, his arms are bleeding again. His cuts were scars, but now they're bleeding again. And Mina saw this also and ran over, and so did Kirishima. And everyone knows that Mina's her brother, pretty much. That's what Mina said to everyone, pretty much. That Deku is a brother to her, pretty much. And Zuko is Mina's sister, and Zuko thinks of Mina as a sister and everything, right? So yeah. And they take him to their nurse's office again. And Recovery Girl, he overused it again. Like something triggered him. And Mirko said, "Well, it's that new girl named Yui." And she says, "Huh, okay. I'll look into that. For now, just keep him with you guys and away from her. Got it?" And let's say they did, and that was for the rest of the month. And they didn't really duel anymore. They dueled one extra time, and Midoriya won that. And let's say the day before the sports festival, Yui was trying to get to Izuku to talk to him, right? And let's say Mirko and Toga were doing something, and Midnight was just doing paperwork. So no one could have stopped them, and she knocked on his door. He said, "Who is it?" And he said, "It's Yui." Right, and he said, "Go away." right? And she said, nope, I'm coming in. And he says, no, don't come in, right? And she came in, and Midoriya was shirtless, right? And she was blushing. And then Mirko and Toga came in, and they just see that. And they say, what are you doing, Yui? And she said, he's trying to touch me. And Mirko said, that's a lie. We know who you are, Yui. Right. And pretty much Toga says, yeah, we know that's a lie. So yeah. And they're just yelling at Toga, not Toga, they're yelling at Yui about that. Just yelling at Yui, and more of the students start coming, and Yui thought that she could trick them and say that Izuku was trying to touch her inappropriately, right? And let's say the only person that really believed her was Monoma. Shinso knew that that wasn't true because Shinso's been training with Deku, you know? So they have a good friendship. And Izuku doesn't care. He's just trying to get dressed and head out for a run. Right? And when he finally got there, right? When he finally got there, or whatever it's called, let's say the next day, it was the first day, and the students had to wake up early to prepare and stuff, right? So yeah. And yeah. And let's say that some of the students are very cautious of Midori because some of them actually believed in Yui. Right? Hold on. Sorry about that. Anyways, and some students are cautious of Midoriya, and Midoriya doesn't care. He just wants to win and get done with this quickly. Because today is a special day to him. Right? And let's say the race, people started coming in, and people knew who Midoriya was from the USJ attack, right? And yeah, and people were trying to, and some kids are really inspired by Midoriya, right? Midoriya never thought that would ever happen, really. And he's all happy about it. He says, oh, thank you, right? Because some kids drew some of him. And one kid drew him with Toga, Mirko, Midnight, Kirishima, and Mina, right? And he said, oh, thank you for this one. He said, oh, thank you. And the kid says, yeah. Hope you enjoy it. And let's say a girl with white hair came with a horn, and she was also inspired by Deku, right? And hold on, sorry. And she drew him something, and in the corner of it, it said, help me, right? And Izuku saw who she was with, a man in a mask, in a plague mask, to be Pacific. And he said, oh, thank you, little girl. And he hugged her and said, are you okay? And then she whispered into his ear and said, no, he's hurting me. And Izuku noticed that she was wearing a long sleeve, but he tried to pull it up a little bit, and the man said, let's go, Yuri, let's go sit down and watch them. Right. And she says, oh, okay, and walks off with him. And Izuku was in shock for how scared she was. And let's say that he went to talk to Mirio before this, and he only had a limited time to do it quickly, right? And he pretty much said, he just told Mirio about what happened and showed her showed him the picture. Sam, get over here. Right, and he said, should we be cautious of this man? And he says, I think so. He has a plague mask. I think he's part of that gang, the Yagrorzo or whatever it's called. I can't say its name. Don't judge me. So yeah, and Miri's like, okay, I'll inform I'll inform people to not let him leave after this. Okay. And they pretty much tell them that, right? And hold on, doing something again. Okay, there we go. And pretty much they got there, or when Izuku started to get ready for the race, Todoroki approached him and said, well, I'm gonna make you my rival for this, blah blah blah, right? And everything. Pretty much does what he does in the canon. So yeah. And Midoriya isn't paying attention to him, and people see this, and they're like, hey, what's up? And he's like, nothing, and walks off quickly. And he was looking into the stands to see where the girl is, and he sees where the girl is. She's very close to the stadium, or where they'll be fighting, right? He's like, maybe I can make my move there, right? And let's say teachers say, Izuku, can we talk to you real quick? Right, and Mike on the thing said, sorry, there will be a delay. There's something that we must do real quick. And everyone's like, okay. And Yuri doesn't know, or this girl doesn't know, right? And overall doesn't really pay attention to that announcement. Sorry, I'm just moving to the way. And hold on, I'm putting you guys down real quick. Give me a second, real quick. Okay. And pretty much, they asked Izuku, who is this man that he told us that this girl needed help? He said, a man in a plague mask. I think he's part of that gang that it's been hard to catch, the Gozo or whatever it's called. And let's say Sir Night-Eye was there, and he says, oh, so he has a daughter, and Izuku says, so you know who this man is, right? And let's say Jiro has her thing in the wall to see what's going on, and he's like, yes, that man's name is Overhaul. He is a villain, and it looks like he has a daughter, so thank you for informing us. And he's like, yeah, when we get her, please make sure that she comes to me to say hello. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And pretty much leaves. And Izuku gets back in there, and everyone's looking at him. And he says, yeah, what? And they say, so what's up with that man? And he says, god damn it. He says, fuck, Jiro. You didn't have permission to do that either. You know you didn't have permission. And she said, yeah, but no. Damn it. Can't tell you guys still. And let's just get this done with. I got things to do today. So yeah. Hold on. Give me a sec. Hold on. Jesus. So yeah. Finally, I don't have to keep moving around. Anyways. Where was I? Oh yeah. And Deku when the race started, Deku got into a dire wolf. The fast one. And boom. When he said go, Todoroki did what he still does. Try to block everyone off, but instead Izuku's out instantly. Right. And he's already towards the robots, and he's already gone, pretty much. and he transformed into like a tank one, and he just jumped through one of the 0 pointers and just pretty much kept running, transformed back into small, the fast direwolf one. And when the creator, or whatever you want to call it, is, he waited pretty much to see where people were, and it took 15 minutes to people start catching up. He said, okay. And Miriko and Toga are right behind him, pretty much. Right, and Todoroki and Bakugo are also with them, trying to catch up. And he sees this and starts running off again. But this time he got into he just turned into his human form and started to keep running on the ropes and kept running. And then he got through. Right. And hold on. And then pretty much Deku got through, and then he got to the mines. He blitzed for the mines, and all the mines pretty much exploded, and it was instantly a big pink explosion. But Izuku did grab one of the robot parts and pretty much combined all of them because he was ahead, and he got all the mines and put them all together, and he hit them before he could get over the ring, and he did, and he was the first one there. Right? And everyone was in shock. Overall was in shock. And the girl with the white hair was happy, but she was also scared. And when he got in there, he looked at everyone and then stopped and looked at one specific person overall. And it looked like and no one really paid attention to him, Izuku. They were really paying attention, but Erie's the only one that noticed that Izuku was glaring at Overhaul. And then she smiled, and Overhaul said, "What is it, kid?" And Izuku looked away. And everyone saw that Izuku took a nap. Was taking a nap for everyone. And everyone saw that Toga and Miriko came out at the exact same time. So they called that a tie for second place. And Todoroki got third, and Bakugo got fourth. And let's say Yui got fifth. So yeah. So, and then they said the cavalry battle. And Izuku said, okay, we need 4 people. And Miriko and Toga said, do you want to be a team? He says, yeah. And those guys were on a team. And then there's 3, and they needed 1 more. And they said, can we just do a team of 3? And they said, sure, I guess. And no, they said, let us think about it. Right. And they said, let's see what the audience wants. Is it okay if these 3 get teamed up? And they looked, and the audience said, sure. They don't really care. Right. And Yui's pretty much just doing whatever. And let's say that they started to attack. It started, and the cavalry battle began, and Deku transformed into a wolf because he was on the bottom, and the 2 girls were just riding on him while they defended him. Right? And no one could really catch up to Deku because how fast he's running around. No one could catch up to him. Right? And they just keep running and running. And let's say Todoroki had enough and wanted to catch him, and they just froze the ground to make it harder for Izuku to run. But then Izuku said no. He just pretty much said Uno reverse input, and he did the ground for him and kept running. And Izuku kept running so fast that tiny tornadoes started forming. Right? And let's say a team, let's say, Monoma's team. No, I'm gonna put Monoma in there. Let's say, let's say Uraka's team. Yeah, Uraka, because I can't let her be in this yet. I can't let her. No, she has to be also in this. Let's say. Hmm. Whose team should it be? Let's say the girl that has vines for hair, pretty much, right? Yeah. I don't know why that took me so long. But her team tried to got close to Deku, and then all of a sudden, not Deku, Miracle jumped off and landed on them and started kicking them pretty much and bouncing back and forth off of Deku. And it was just a big battle, pretty much, and everyone saw how good of a team they were. Right? So, yeah. And so yeah, and Deku pretty much got their bands and kept running around and got out. I should have probably added Minako Urashima to their team or Shinso. Man, who cares, right? And let's say they finally Todoroki got them in a closed area. And Izuku wanted to keep an eye on Eri, though. Or on the girl. Yeah, too late. Because let's say the drawing had her name, Eri. Okay? And yeah. And pretty much Midoriya said, God damn, I can't see her. And breaks the ice quickly. But Todoroki reforms it again. Right? And pretty much just keeps attacking. Right? And Todoroki and Bakugo were in the same. Let's say Yui was on the same team with Bakugo, right? And she summoned a few monsters to attack them. And Izuku didn't want to show his true form yet, or his strongest form. And that's what she wanted because these themes were trying to kill him. Mostly, they weren't attacking the two girls. And Midnight was kind of scared for the girls because Izuku can't really attack that well, right? And then he said Hell Flame, and all of a sudden you just see fire go around them, and Midnight announced that's up, it's over, right? And yeah, they all stopped running around, and Izuku melted all the ice that was around them. And then he was looking around and saw Eri again. And Eri was closer to him this time. And Eri wanted to pet Izuku because she thought it was like a puppy. And Izuku walked up in his form, and everyone saw this. And he bent his down. He stood up on his high legs for Eri to pet him. And he's pretty big for a wolf, right? And she pet him, and let's say other people and plus some heroes also pet him, and they all say he's so soft. And Toga and Mirko didn't believe that fully, so they pet him, and they said, holy crap, you are soft. And they just pretty much loved on him. And Midnight came also and pet him. He said, that's why I started dating you, I see. Right? And let's say they were all sitting down, and Yui was complaining to Midoriya, and she got too close to him, that it looked like that she wanted to kiss him, right? And Midoriya said, "Can you back up, please?" And then she sat down. And Izuku was not paying attention to her. He paid attention, and he noticed that he was the first match against, well, who do you think? Shinso. And he's like, huh, my own student, I guess. Right, and he walks down. He says, "You ready, Shinso?" He says, "Yeah, I think I could maybe pull up a fight against you." He says, "What form do you want me to use?" He says, "Don't use your strongest form. I know I can't go against that." He says, "Human form then?" He says, "Yeah, I could probably go against that for a little bit." And he pretty much says, "Okay." And he got into his fighting form, into a fighting stance, and they said, "Go." And Izuku wanted to show overall what some of his strength is, and Izuku blitzed, and Shinso pretty much had awareness, knew where he was, and he blocked or dodged dodged his attacks a lot. He dodged most of his attacks, and Shinso actually got some hits on Midoriya that kind of scratched him a little. And people were shocked that Shinso's doing this much to him, right? And Izuku's like, "Huh, I see you've been training with that paper I gave you." And he said, "Yeah." How can you tell? Because you're actually doing more damage to me than usual people could do. Right, and people are surprised that they're just that he's just not really worrying about this. And Shinso says, "Okay, do you want to take this serious now?" And he says, "Oh, I thought we were just messing around." He's like, "We were." And then people are getting concerned about it, so let's give them a show, should we? He's like, "Okay." And then you see Izuku's smile go into a serious type face a little bit. And he went on to, and then you see him for a second again, and he's starting to use his fire. And Shinso sees this and got out his scarf ready to go. And he got Midoriya and hit him onto the ground. Midoriya grabbed the scarf, though, and threw him outside, but made sure he didn't hurt him. And he says, "You good?" And Shinso says, "Yeah, I just gotta get faster at that." And he's like, "Huh, good. We'll train later, okay?" And he's like, "Okay." And Shinso walked off gracefully and smiling, and people saw this, and some heroes, hold on. Sorry about that, my sister came in. Anyways, where were we? Oh yeah, and Izuku walked off with Shinso talking to him about what he could have done better. Right. And just is agreeing with everything. And pretty much, overall has witnessed this, and he's like, "Huh, great power, I see." Right. And Shiraki's paying attention also. Let's say Shiraki was in the stands with Kurogiri, so he's ready to go if he needs to. And he's not by any heroes, so he's good. Right. And Shiraki's just witnessed what some of his strength is, but Shiraki kind of knows what his full-on strength is, but they haven't seen his red aura pretty much. And, oh, Sam's back. Hold on, guys. Let me get my dog up here. Oh, Sammy. Oh, Sammy. Okay, up you go. Oh, there you go. Sheesh, your nose is cold. Okay, anyways. Where were we? Oh, yeah. And the next match, let's say, was Mirko versus, let's say, vine-haired girl. Yeah. Right. And Mirko, it was a good fight, Midoriya thought. But Mirko could have ended that faster, he was also thinking. And pretty much the fight went like this. They began, and Mirko went for a quick. She waited. The vine girl put her hair underground and went for it quickly. Mirko didn't really move because she wanted to see what she could do. Right? and pretty much she didn't move at all, and then she got crouched for a little bit, and then she got out and then won. People saw this, they wrote her name down or whatever for their agency. So yeah. So yeah. And then Toga had to go against let's say Mina. And Mina wanted to prove to her brother that she was strong. Toga wanted to prove that she was strong to Luffy also. And he before they went to fight, he said, "Whoever wins or lose, you guys are still good, right?" Because he knows that they're trying to win for him. And they're smiling about it, and they're like, "Well, I still want to win, though, right?" And they get ready to fight, and let's say, um, hold on. Okay, and they started. Toga went quickly, and she's been training with Vladikine to manipulate her blood better, right? And she has a little. She cut herself a little, just a little bit, enough to make her bleed, and she expanded the blood pretty much, for she could use it as a weapon, right? And she uses it as a weapon, and she makes it like a baton, and people see this and they're like, huh, interesting, right? And hold on. Okay, we're back. Sorry. Anyways, and yeah, they kept fighting, and Mina is used pretty much morphed her acid to a weapon, and they just pretty much fight it out. And let's say they both went out. No, let's say, yeah, they both went out. They pretty much knocked each other both out with one hit, right? And Izuku went down to help them, to go help pick them up. And he said, "You two did well. There's some flaws in there, but I could deal with that later." Right? And just pretty much took them to Recovery Girl. And Bakugo had to go against Uraraka, and let's say that they've been dating. Right? And their match doesn't matter except for Bakugo won. Pretty much the exact same thing that happened in canon. Right? And let's say the next match, the girls woke up and Izuku's patting them, saying that they did good. And let's say Izuku had to go against. Let's say Yui had to go against Kaminari. And Yui wanted to beat Deku, so she didn't really hold anything back. And Kaminari said, "I don't like hurting girls, but if it makes me win, I guess." Right? And yeah. And hold on. Sorry. And she pretty much just summoned, let's say, a tough warrior to deal with him in one blow. And it was about to make Kaminari hit to the wall and make a dent in the wall until Izuku jumped down and catched him, and he said, "You good?" And Kaminari's, went stupid mode, and he's like, eh. He's like, okay, he's okay. And he pretty much just carried him, right? And everyone's like, huh, that was a quick reaction, right? And more people wrote him down now. And hold on. Sorry. And let's say that he started going, right? No. Yeah, he walked back and everything. And the next match was, let's say, Todoroki versus against Deku. Todoroki versus Soji, no Zero, and Todoroki beat him pretty quickly. Bakugo went. No, let's say then. Did I say Mirko? Yeah, Mirko Ria went against Vine Girl. And let's say Mirko had to go against Midori. No. Yeah, Midoriya. And Midoriya said, even though you're my girlfriend, I still gotta win. You know that. And Togo was there watching, and so was Midnight. And Midnight and Toga yelled, please beat him. Midnight said this on the mic, and people were like, wait, are they dating? Right? And some people know, and some people don't. And Monoma is going to use this to advantage later. Right? And yeah. Sorry. And Mirko went for a kick quickly because she knows how Deku fights. And Deku just stood there while she did it. And it hit him in the face. And he said, not bad for a beginning attack. Is that, you want to do another one? And she jumped back and kicked him while doing that. And then grabbed him and slammed his head on the ground. He's like, not bad, not bad. He's like, oh, okay. That's how we're doing it now, huh? And she said, yeah, that's how we're doing it. And he's like, okay, my turn then. And she said, oh, God. And Izuku just pretty much went into a fight stance and just went for a kick to her side. Not that hurtful, right? Just a small kick. And the small kick got her out. But she was about to fall, and Izuku caught her, but accidentally his hand went inside of her shirt and touched her bra from the back. And he said, this is awkward, huh? And she said, it's okay, I've already seen you. We've already seen each other, so it doesn't really matter to me. Izuku's like, it does to me, though. Right, and let's go of her. And he says, well, you're good. You did good. Keep working, And she said, yeah. And money. Okay. And pretty much the next battle was Toto versus, let's say, Toto versus Bakugo. Right. And Todoroki and Bakugo, when they said go, they both went for attack quickly. Todoroki uses his eyes, and Bakugo is just trying to hit him, no matter what. And it's just an on fight, it's just over and over and over. And then all of a sudden, they pretty much, I'm gonna do this to them. They both knock each other out instantly. Right? And then let's say Kirishima versus Tetsu. So pretty much 4 people have qualified their own selves. Right? And let's say that Tetsu versus Kirishima pretty much happened the exact same thing. They are doing arm wrestle, and who won again? Was it Kirishima? Yeah, Kirishima won. And let's say Kirishima had to go against Deku. And Deku was like, okay, let's see how much hits you could take, right? And Kirishima's like, okay. And Kirishima's learned Unbreakable, and he used that. And Deku used, instead of human form, he used his human/wolf form to attack quickly. And pretty quickly, he went for a dart, and Kirishima hardened up quickly and went in front of got in front and to see where he was getting attacked from. And they were just fighting each other now, right? And they kept going for an onslaught battle, right? And the onslaught battle, pretty much, and it was pretty much like, hold on, it was like, Shinso versus Deku, right? How it was for the first match, and yeah, Deku pretty much got in front, and just finally, he's like, sorry, but I gotta do this also to you, and takes him out. And he says, me and Shinso gotta keep working harder then, when we go against you. And he says, go ahead, I'll wait. Right. And let's say the final match was Yui versus Deku. And Deku wants to kind of bring her pain, but just wants to get this done with, before he can help Eri, right? And Eri's been amazed during this whole thing, and Overhaul is just shocked, pretty much, right? And the teachers say, for Yui, she gets to summon one of the teachers to help. No, hold on, I have to do this real quick. And let's say Monoma had to go against Deku, so he had 3 matches in a row, right? And Monoma started, and he started just talking smack, right? He's like, so, you're dating 3 people. Does that make you a player? And Izuku's just walking towards him, and he says, that bunny one, isn't she, what is it? And he's like, isn't she just a weird whore? And Izuku stopped for a second and started gritting a little and kept walking, and then he said, that Toga girl is a psycho. And he stopped again, and he just kept walking towards Monoma. And then let's say that he said, oh, and Midnight, don't get me started with her. She acts so like she's in charge, but then doesn't do anything. What a lazy bitch, right? And Deku stopped for a second, and you see him transforming, but his transforms aren't going full complete. And Monoma doesn't know what's going on. No one really. And this is a different aura. It's an aura of confusion and everything a mix. And Zuku looked up, and his eyes were just changing colors now. And he kept walking towards Monoma. And Monoma was scared. He didn't know what was going on. No one knew. And it was just, and all of a sudden you see Deku right in front of Monoma, and all he does is pushes him. He pushed him, and Izuku won. And Izuku's eyes went back to normal. He says, don't ever talk about them like that. These are special women to me. Right? And Izuku cried a little. But then he wiped his tears off and said, who's next? And then Yui came down and came down. And some people wanted Izuku to beat the shit out of her, because she cheated, and then what she said to him. And she went for an insult, so I heard that your mother died. How funny, right? And Izuku didn't do anything when he heard that. He was dull. And everyone was confused because they didn't hear her, right? And she summoned a big tank one to hit Izuku. She summoned 3: attacker, a defender for her, and then a healer, right? And the attacker was on Deku, punching him, and let's say the attacker also had like a dagger and slashing at him. And the defender also went on for an attack. And the healer hasn't done anything yet, just standing still. They just see Izuku taking the damage in his regular human form. And Izuku was just thinking back to what she has done to him. Complaining to him, begging him, trying to kiss him when he's dating. And then he thinks back to one day when it was a beautiful night and fireworks were going off. And that's the day that he saw her cheat on him. And Izuku confronted her and allowed her. And then you see Izuku's fire for his horn, kind of form horns on his head. And yeah. And people saw that, but they didn't know what that was. Then it pretty much disappeared quickly. And Izuku finally moved a little bit. He put his hand up and caught the dagger in the attacker. The attacker stopped moving. And pretty much his hand was bleeding from the attacker's dagger. And then he broke the dagger. And he looked up in an angry voice, said, "Never talk about her again." Right? And Izuku transformed into a powerful form. Not his strongest, but the second to strongest. A tank. Let's say it was like, he just transformed into his wolf/human again. And took out his attack, the healer, and then the defender and the attacker. And he started walking towards her. Right? And Deku is now shirtless, let's say, for how much slashes that was. Right? And she just trying, and then she put on, let's say that she summoned another warrior to fight. Right? And pretty much Izuku just destroyed it quickly. She didn't care. Right? She destroyed it again. And he destroyed it again, and he kept walking and walking. And then he went to his human form. She summoned let's say, dog, and the dog didn't move. Izuku looked at it and said, "Obey your master." And everyone saw that this dog didn't attack him, but just ran. Right? And no one has really seen his hounds during this, and everyone wondered why. And she said, "What? No." And Izuku was in front of her now in human form. And he said this, "If you talk about her again like that, I will kill you." And then he punches her in the stomach. Right? And she just spat on him, pretty much. And everyone didn't know who she was. Right? And then they say, "Izuku Midoriya, first place." And then they said, "Everyone, we have an announcement to make." And Izuku all of a sudden transformed into his strongest form. And he said, and everyone started to know what was going on. And people kind of got away from the front. Eri stayed in the front, and Izuku started walking towards her. And overall didn't know what was going on. He thought that he was just letting her pet him again. And when he got there, he let Eri pet him. And then he said, "You." "You're a father, right?" And he says, "Yes." And he says, "Okay." And then Izuku grabbed him and threw him into the stadium. And the heroes all jumped in then. And people didn't know what was going on. And some of the students were like, "What is he doing to that man?" And that man, and let's say that then he touched the wall that was behind him to start catapulting spikes at Izuku. And Izuku just broke them. He says, "You, what have you done to her? This little girl, huh?" And Eri was in shock that that's why he went. He went to help her. And Overhaul, let's say Overhaul's goons were there also. And all of them started jumping Midoriya. And Midoriya is just trying to get them off. And let's say the one that, if you know, Nejire, Uraka, and Froppy fought, that one came down to hit Deku. And let's say at that moment, the League of Villains also joined that fight. Because they made an alliance with Overhaul. And Overhaul made an alliance with the League of Villains. And now they're all just attacking Izuku. And the heroes are trying to jump in, but Izuku's just not allowing them to. And he summoned all of his 125 direwolves with all elements on them, and they're just attacking the villains. And Izuku's mostly on Shigaraki and the Nomu and one Overhaul. Right, and people start evacuating now. The students left, but they're watching from a distance. Right, and Cementos, let's say, barricaded them all into that stadium. Right, and they didn't know how strong he would be against them, so they don't want to send in All Might, though. They just want to see, and if he starts taking massive damage, they'll start sending in heroes. But they want to see what he could do. And Izuku is just fighting now. And the wolves are actually getting hurt and taking damage. He says, Rimuru, Tempest, Chomp, get everyone out here now. Right? And Izuku hasn't gone to he's just in the wolf version of his buff form. He's not into the human yet. Like the human / that one. And he says, "But Master, what about..." He says, "Go, now." Right? And all the wolves retreat outside. And start surrounding Mirko, Toga, and Midnight. And they say, "What's going on with him?" And Izuku starts releasing this dark aura. And Overhaul noticed that they took Eri out. And Overhaul is mad. He says, "You, bring me back her." Right? And he touched the wall and spikes started coming out from the cement. And Izuku got impaled by one through the arm, but broke the rest. And pretty much he has a wound in him now. And he says, and he is breathing hard and then the Nomu are also on him. And Izuku said, "Fine." And he went into his human / wolf form, but it's the strongest wolf form. And he says, "Black lightning," and lightning comes down in hell flame. And then he says, "Hell flame." Hell flame burns the ground around them. And then he says, "Icicle impale," and multiple ice shards come out and start hitting people. Then he says, "Hell slowness," right? And everyone starts to be slower and doozier. And it's just Deku over and over ramming the... And Shigaraki is not there, let's say. It's just a Nomu, right? And Shigaraki doesn't know how his Nomu are doing. And let's say that it's been 2 hours and they're still fighting because they could hear it. And let's say 3 police stations from different cities have surrounded the place just in case people try to escape. Right? So yeah. And hold on. Give me a sec. Okay. Anyways, and let's say during the one attack from overhaul, he consumed let's say got the, which one is it? The big guy that he started transforming to. And Izuku just kicked him up into the air pretty much now. And he started taking them down. He took down all of Overhaul's goons. And now it's just Overhaul and the two Nomu. And the Nomu've been just hitting Izuku over and over. He's trying to help, but it just hurts. And Izuku wants to ask for help, but he can't. He just doesn't want to. He just doesn't want to allow it, really. And Izuku finally defeated Overhaul. And then he had the Nomu. No, he hasn't defeated them yet. Overhaul ran away, let's say, because he was taking damage. Overhaul ran away. Right? And the Nomu just ran away also. And they just disappeared. And Izuku started falling down to the ground slowly. When people were trying, and let's say Mount Lady tried to catch him, but he was steaming pretty much, right? And they're still trying to, and let's say Mirko and Toga and Midnight catch him, but they're burning, and they put him down on the ground, and they just see him breathing hard and steaming, right? So yeah. And everyone was very cautious now. In the next few weeks, they got to just, sorry, Sam. And next few weeks, they gotta take a break to heal. Izuku got a month, though. Everyone else just got 2 weeks. Izuku got a month. People would bring him his homework and help him. Right? And, yeah. And when Izuku came back, Izawa told them about their internships. And, yeah. Their internships or something. My mother just got home. So yeah, they just talked about their internships and how it would all go. So yeah. And Izuku had the highest from everyone. Mirko, Toga, and then the rest are just the same pretty much. And yeah, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you guys for joining me today. And I'm pretty sure I posted 3 videos today for you guys. So yeah, hopefully you all enjoy it and have a wonderful day.